News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
I'm honored that Mr. Ferguson likes that opening.
That's awesome.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
So starting off with some pretty terrible news, but really all over the place today. Police investigating Tuesday's shootout in Jersey City, New Jersey now believe that the gunman may have specifically targeted the kosher grocery store where 3 people were killed. Police have identified the suspects, who are a 47-year-old man and a 50-year-old woman. The man was believed to be a former member of the Black Israelite movement, and religious writings were found inside the van they used to drive to the scene. The scene of the shooting was initially believed to have been chosen at random, but Jersey City's mayor said it was a targeted attack. The standoff, which lasted several hours, left 6 people dead, including a police officer and the 2 suspects. And now they believe that it was because of targeting this Jewish grocery store and the Black Israelite movement.
It's always interesting. My theory is what drives everybody. If you want to insult someone, call them fat or ugly or dumb. But if you want to enrage them, then you have to shame them. That really shame creates everything. Because I always think, what's with the Jews? What's everyone care about the Jews for? I'm from North Hollywood. I had a perfect Whitman sample box of cultures at North Hollywood High. I had white guys who were in the Valley, who's like my buddies, parents divorced, live in apartments. I had some Hispanic guys who lived in the deeper Valley. Had some black guys bust in from the city, played on the football team. Sprinkling of Asians and Eastern Asian types. And then there were the Jews. The Jews lived up in Hebrew Heights. They lived up in the hills, Laurelwood. They come down the streets were all Donnas. Donna Dolores, Donna Pegida, Donna everything. And they came down. And the Jews, parents were together, got great grades, super well disciplined and mannered. And when we left North Hollywood High, my Jewish friends went off to Stanford and Cal, and my white Mexican friends went off to a construction site and picked up garbage. And I remember at the time going, those people have their shit together. It's not the school. It's them. We all went to the same school. Me and Ray and Chris are going to a construction site and picking up garbage for $7 an hour. And Robbie and Alex Arado are heading off to Cal Berkeley and Stanford. And I remember thinking, they must be doing something right. But I didn't have the impulse to throw a Molotov cocktail through their window. I wanted to emulate them. I thought they're doing something right, and I got to figure out how to bring that. Now, it's too late for my family, but when I start a family, I want to do it like the Jews. And my wife, Lynette, her dad said, marry a Jewish guy. They're better. They stick around. They work a little harder. They're a little more into education, stuff like that. So why the Jews? It's why? It's they're not physically imposing. They're not whatever. And I realized, they show up. They get together, they become successful, and smart people recognize that and try to emulate it, and weak, angry people want to burn it down. That's my take on why the Jews. Where's this coming from? Why does it still exist? How historically what happened? Why is there a through line here? I don't find them, it's no one ever said, that guy's as annoying as a Jew. There's no adages. It's they get together, they do well, and all you can really do is kind of sit there and go, I fucking wish my family did that.
So there's no stereotypes about Jews?
There's Jews. There's Jew stereotypes. It's about, money and, but if you think about the stereotype, it's right up there with black guy having a big dick. You know what I mean?
Too successful.
Being good
too
with
rich.
money or, whatever. I'm just saying, I think as I look at the sort of psychological, sociological, why the Jews kind of thing, I think the success breeds envy and then anger and resentment and then shame.
Right.
And then you can deal with that by either looking in the mirror or trying to burn it down.
Right.
And a lot of people want to burn it down.
Yeah, the only reason I know what Black Israelites are, who they are, is because when I lived in New York, a lot of screaming in Times Square from the Black Israelites. And that was the only time I didn't know what. I was like, oh, Black Israelites, this sounds great. I'm Jewish. I'm from Kansas. I found my people. They are not my people. They very much do not want to be my people.
They made it to... They also made it to Washington because that's where that whole thing with Nicholas Sandmann and the old elderly.
That's right.
They were the element that got sort of cut out of that, is they were with the Indian tribes guy and the yelling and blah, blah, blah. That's they're spreading out. Sad.
Well, Bill Cosby's bid to overturn his sexual assault conviction failed Tuesday when an appeals court upheld the verdict. But he was very remorseful. Just kidding. The comedian's rep blasted the move, saying, quote, "This news of the Superior Court denying Mr. Cosby's appeal is appalling and disappointing. It does show the level of corruption that resides in the judicial system of Pennsylvania."
Yeah, attack the system.
This statement calls Cosby's conviction...
Another black guy being railroaded.
That's right.
Right from the stage to prison pipeline, or how's this work? Another poor inner city black guy just getting carted off to the prison and locked away for no reason.
He did say that it was a political scheme to destroy America's dad. It ends by saying Mr. Cosby remains hopeful and he stands behind his innocence. Cosby is serving 3 to 10 years for the assault of Andrea Constand in 200004.
He should choose his words more carefully, standing behind and turning it over.
That's what you got.
Turn the other cheek.
Got into this
all stuff you do if someone was passed out and you're trying to have sex with them. Yeah. We established early on that words matter.
They sure do.
Mm-hmm.
And so do actions, because the man who butt-slapped a reporter on live TV has issued an apology. I don't know if you saw it. I will show it to you. Alex Bazargian stood on the roadside reporting from the weekend Savannah Bridge Run when runner Tommy Calloway slapped her on the butt as he jogged by. Now, she stops mid-report to look in utter disbelief. It almost feels like a scene from a movie. Her reaction is so pure and so horrified. I'll show it to you in the studio.
You can't stand in front of a 10K over a bridge and not expect to get smacked in the butt.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's on her.
Does everybody know that?
She's wearing a revealing outfit.
Yeah, big construction vest.
It's inviting.
That's right.
Inviting outfit, as I learned from watching TJ Hooker.
Watch her expression once she gets smacked.
Not expecting that. People also dress up in costumes for this bridge run, so it's very exciting. It's very exciting. People get really excited for this bridge run.
So she's trying to get herself back on track, but she is truly shocked.
Slapping the ass is totally in context of that situation. You get on camera, everyone is running past you, doing something, throwing their hands in the air. Slapping an ass is sort of lateral move from throwing your hands in the air, or whatever. One guy went to put his arm around her or something.
Well, she has thoughts about it.
I want to hear him, and then I'll tell her to shut up because this is Zero Burger. I was on PCH. I've never told you this story. I was riding a 10-speed on PCH a million years ago. I was like 22, maybe 19. And I was stopped at a signal like where Pepperdine is. And it was a red signal. And I was just sitting there on my bike, wearing like my bike shorts. And a group of like guys on hogs were coming up PCH, like old guys, 15, 20 guys with bikes. And they all had their old ladies on the back. And I was just sitting there with my, tight 19-year-old hiney, wearing my tight cycling shorts, just sort of stationary, maybe presenting, maybe.
It was inviting outfit.
I was inviting.
Outfit.
And the gal, I think it was just sort of first in line as they were going past me and turning right, just put her hand out and slapped me on the ass. And then, of course, it just became kind of cards in the spokes. Good
game.
Yeah, the chicks behind her went, all right, I see what we're doing here. This is funny. This is funny little slap shot move where like they went by the opposing bench with the stick up and this said, and I just was there and I remember thinking, that's funny. But it's funny. Like I get what's going on.
Was it televised? Were you trying to report on something?
There was a crew there. I don't know that I was the subject of what they were filming, but I can't say that I wasn't.
Well,
I don't
know.
Look on the internet, Max Pat. No, Max Pat's looking confused. No, it was not on camera. It's still joke and it's stupid and it's whatever.
I thought of myself in this situation because I've done radio, whatever, and I'm so used to this stuff. It doesn't bother me. I'd laugh it off, whatever. But if I was I'd probably be a little embarrassed. I'd have to sort of like collect myself and keep going.
But she's outraged or whatever.
Well, let me tell you exactly
Hold
what
on.
she
Do you
said.
think the fucker and the pussy guys are outraged? Like, do you think the fucker and the pussy guys are like, hey, man, you crossed the line. Now, our move is we run in front of the camera person and yell, fuck him in the pussy.
That's our move.
But we don't put hands.
That's right.
Okay?
That's assault.
That's too much.
That's too much.
Yeah.
You've crossed the
Too
line.
far.
This is the conversation they have in the van when they rob a bank and the one guy shot the guard.
What was that?
You shot
What
the
was
guard.
that?
That was part of the plan.
We're just robbing a bank. Why'd you shoot the guard? By the way, they should never be that surprised. We all ran into the bank with carrying loaded guns, and then we're chewing out the guy who used his gun.
The option was on the table.
Come on, man. Now it's murder one. It's like before, we're just going to spend 40 years in jail. Now we're spending 50 years. Like,
This
you agree to rob a
Chris,
bank.
this would be hard to find, but in the movie Heat, when that happens, the bank robbery, and like, why did you do that? Why did you shoot the guy? And he goes, I had to get it on, man. Had to get it on.
They do it in every bank movie where
He had
someone
to
gets
get it
shot.
on.
The three dudes who thought it was a good idea to rob a bank with a gun are now judging the guy who shot the
One
person.
guy always falls apart.
Shaming him.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Well, Tommy Calloway, that's the guy, the offender, serves his church as a youth minister. He has asked to be forgiven. But Bazargian filed a report with the Savannah, Georgia police. She tweeted, you violated, objectified, and embarrassed me. No woman should ever have to put up with this. Do better. She has since appeared on CBS This Morning, and when asked whether or not she's open to hearing what Calloway has to say, she said this.
Oh, I could never host the
What
show.
is most important here is that he took my power, and I'm trying to take that back.
See,
and
she's taking it back.
Whether I am open to it or not, I want to take my time with that. And
power.
I think what
She
it
had
really
magical
comes down
farts,
to is
and he
that
gobbled them up with his hand?
Helped himself to a part of my body.
By the way, this is why I could never have this gig, because he took my power, yeah, and then he helped himself to a part of, and the healing process, yeah. I'd always be like, what do you mean he took your power? He slapped you on the ass. Here, watch this. Slap me on the ass. See if you take my power. Let's see how this works. No, you chose to be a victim. He didn't. He did something that was playful, running on a bridge. You chose to couch it as he took my power. There's no taking of power when you slap somebody in the behind. And this is that generation I'm talking about. She's part of the self-esteem thing. She feels she doesn't realize that it had nothing to do with her. That's what people don't understand. This is a random person holding a microphone looking at a camera. He doesn't know who she is. It's not a personal thing. It seems super personal. It's the opposite of personal. It's what you would do. It's like egging a car that goes by when you're a kid. You don't have anything against the person or the car. You're egging cars. That's how it works. He didn't. Well, let me hear her again and her nuttiness. And by the way, this is stupid. People have got to fucking conduct interviews like human beings. At least ask some questions.
What is most important here is that he took my power, and I'm trying to take that back. Whether I am open to it or not, I want to take my time with that.
File the police report.
I think what it really comes down to is that he helped himself to a part of my body.
Any other non-news that we can do? What else can we grunt at that's a zero story? This is a zero fucking burger. She should not be on, she probably shouldn't be on her local station, much less CBS News doing a national spot.
It did
By the way, what do interviewers do now? Just sit there and grunt?
That was Gayle King and
Took your power.
the guy.
Yeah. He stole your power because he slapped you in the ass when he ran past you on a 10K. Okay.
It did make me wonder if she would have been a part of the old Conway and Whitman show when we all got in our underwear and weighed ourselves to see how many pounds of show we were. Something tells me, she wouldn't have been down and filmed it.
Wonder how much we all weigh.
Well, she can never be whole again.
Oh, this
That's
was
right.
many years ago.
Gosh, she's got so
come
much
I
on.
to
hardly
contribute.
tipped the scale.
You want to see that scene from Heat?
Oh, yeah. I think there's a scene like that in Point Break, too. There's a scene like that in every
at the
movie.
beginning.
The payoff, this guy says, get it on. Got to get it on. Then they all meet at the diner after the botched robbery.
Val.
Sizemore.
Wow, there's some going back a bit.
He was making a move. I had to get it on.
Smashed his head.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's good.
Had to
Peak
get it
De Niro.
on. Yeah, Peak De Niro.
Did you see have you seen The Irishman?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. There's just one scene in it, though, where I went, You know the bit where De Niro beats the guy?
The fight scene outside the market.
Yeah,
is
I was like,
bumped us a
so
little bit.
awkward.
I was like, when the guy's going, my hand. And I'm like, please.
Oh, you haven't
gotta
seen it
see
yet,
it
have you?
now.
Chris, you find that scene, it's making the rounds on social media because we've brought it up a few times now.
Yeah, is it really?
It's uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable. Because look, if you're going to do all that, can we just use a young
double, yeah.
body double
Yeah.
to do
He's supposed to be 35 years old.
Yeah.
He seems a little stiff,
Yeah.
a little arthritic.
I don't want to be ageist about it, but, old guys don't generally beat up people.
No,
as
they
a rule.
will beat up other old people on occasion. I feel like if I was in the van on the way to commit the armed robbery of the bank, I would lay the groundwork, which is I'm not going to shoot anybody for the sake of shooting somebody, but if I do shoot somebody, I would hope you would not judge me in the inevitable van ride home.
I would even go further than that. I would say, look, and we're in the van on the way to the room. I say, look, we all have guns.
Right.
We should probably have a policy about when and if we're going to use the guns. Let's discuss it.
Let's go on the same page now.
Meet afterwards, and think about it then. Let's discuss now how are we approaching the gun thing. Are the bullets in the guns? Are the bullets real? Are we going to fire a bullet into the roof just to scare people, or what are we doing with the guns?
Well, Tim, I've thought about this long and hard. There's going to be a security guard. He's going to be scared shitless and immediately comply.
Right.
But from watching enough of these types of movies that we may or may not be in, unclear whether we're actually robbing a bank or making a movie about it, we'll break down the fourth wall and sort that out later.
Right. We'll do that later.
We'll look and check if it's real money. If it's fake money, then we're making a movie.
We'll do it in the diner
But anyway,
later on.
Tim, I digress. I'll tell you one thing. There's two things I can guarantee. I can guarantee that the guy in uniform's not going to be, he's the least of our worries.
Right.
There is going to be an off-duty cop in civilian clothes.
I'm glad we're
he's
talking
going to
about
be
this.
wearing a members-only type jacket.
Right.
And he's going to be lying on the ground. And at some point, he's going to reach back and go for his piece.
So do we shoot him?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
First, he has to be noticed by another person who's lying down as well, who's looking at him going, don't do it.
And then maybe somebody slides out from under one of the teller things, and it's like maybe Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, we have her on a mechanic scraper.
Okay, right.
He comes out from under the tellers thing.
I know I'm just the wheelman here, but I'm glad we're figuring this out now and not inside the bank, because that's a mess.
And I'm glad you were one of the best second story men in the business. You're fair to middling at being a wheelman.
Well, I mean, I did injure my left ankle, which is why I can't do the second story
and I'm
thing
sorry
anymore.
we're not robbing a two-story bank. They have a high mezzanine, but there is no second floor up there.
Very few two-story banks out there anymore.
Yeah, now, I've calculated exactly how long it's going to take the cops to get here.
Right.
Even though I'm not basing that on anything, because the cop car could drive past.
How can you calculate
We have,
that?
gentlemen.
Once the silent alarm gets triggered.
We have 1 minute and 41 seconds before the first patrol car rolls.
Right,
We need to be in and out. And no one ever raises their hand and goes, what if there's a cop across the street eating a sandwich? Like,
What if he's making a deposit?
how exactly did you work this out? Like, how many dry runs did you go on where you tripped the silent
How
alarm?
many bank robberies did you observe?
All right.
Where this is the average response
Now,
time?
I want to tell you all this. This is our second to last caper. There's a bigger one later I don't want to get into right now.
All right.
But we've all come out of retirement
Just
for a
this
second.
and one after this.
A bigger one,
Okay.
but this will be second.
This will be a second.
Penultimate. I think they called that. Jinx. You owe me a Coke, right?
After
That'll
the
work?
robbery. After the robbery.
But do you know the word winnow?
Hey, if you got a minute and 41 seconds, and I can run and grab a Coke real quick.
I'll put it in a sentence. Do not winnow your bullets down into the
I thought
body.
we weren't going to talk about Winnow. Winnow hasn't been around for a long time.
Oh, no.
I don't want to talk about Winnow. We don't talk about Winnow. He ain't here no more.
It's spelled differently. You're thinking about a different
that's
guy.
a different Winnow?
Different guy.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
All right. You're thinking about a
Bob Winnow.
Tom Cruise movie from the 80s with Ron Howard?
Oh, yeah.
It's a willow.
A willow.
Val Kilmer.
I'm making a joke. All right. It didn't work. I won't do that one anymore.
It's all right.
I'll do it in a Bowie voice.
Sometimes jokes don't work.
Oh, Brian's going to get a lot of mileage out of that. All right, Gina, what else?
Well, Time magazine has chosen teen climate change activist Greta Thunberg as the 2019 Person of the Year.
What?
The magazine's editor-in-chief, Edward Felsenthal, made the announcement Wednesday morning on the Today Show and revealed the magazine's cover, which features the 16-year-old Swedish girl. She's the youngest recipient of the honor.
Where's she from? She's from
Sweden.
I think.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Certainly in the news, the most impactful person.
Do you familiar with Jeremy Clarkson? Got into a lot of trouble talking about her recently.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
He gets into trouble all
He
the
gets
time.
into trouble a lot. Usually just before a new grand tour comes out. But he said that she should go home. She's scaring the other kids, which I think was the wrong thing.
I always laughed about, now let's see, Bono. He's Irish, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And I used to always,
Sometimes jokes don't work.
I used to laugh all the time that Bono...
Sometimes jokes don't work.
Bono would always be here, like, kind of lecturing us on famine and world and whatever. And I'd always be like, what if I just took Bob Seger and sent him to Ireland and he'd just fucking get all sanctimonious and lecture you people all day? How would it fucking feel? Because that's what it feels like to me. And then I'd like to take a precocious 16-year-old and go to Sweden, is that what you're on? And just fucking lecture them. Just go there and lecture them on stuff. Just go get all sanctimonious on their ass. Because I feel like we live in the United States. Our carbon production is down. We're doing less carbon.
We're winnowing it down.
We're winnowing
away. Good choice.
We're doing less carbon than we were the year before, and I think we did less than the year before that. Now, the people that need the lecture, that's India, that's China, those people are upping their carbon game. So why do we become this place where everyone just lands in lectures? You know what I mean? Like, whether it's a world war or carbon, maybe we're on the happy side of this. We should go to fucking somewhere else that needs a lecture and go lecture there. You can't go to China and lecture. You'll get fucking thrown in a gulag or work camp or something. You can't go to these other places. Are you
saying there's
open
no
to it.
Adam Carolla podcast in China?
No, they're not lecture ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go. The irony of our country is you can come here and call us anything you want, say anything you want, and then just go about your way. You go to some of these other nations and do that, you come home in a fucking box. Or you come home in a catatonic state like
Otto
Warmbier did. So it's funny. We become the easiest place to lecture because we're the safest place to lecture, but we're also the people that need the least lecturing. But we get the most lecturing because nobody gets blown up or gets a shoe thrown at them.
Do you know, I've noticed something about you over the years. I've studied you, and as you're aging, you're getting a little more Gilbert Gottfried than you used to be.
No.
Oh, no.
I tell you, this is the greatest country in the world.
Xenophobic Gilbert Gottfried.
I have to tell you, I've noticed
jingoistic.
in myself, I am getting a little more Gilbert Gottfried as well. As you get older, you turn into Gilbert Gottfried.
Well,
That's to every man.
To be fair to him,
Oh, come on! Why?
When he was 30, he was 75.
He
so
was.
it makes sense that we would all turn into that as the years wear on.
He was the first comic I ever saw in Montreal at Just for Laughs, and all he was doing was going,
I hate this place. It's covered in maple syrup. The minute you get off the plane, maple syrup. I'm sliding on it all over my ass. It's maple syrup.
Wow.
yeah.
Sometimes jokes
don't work.
I got to tell you, between Gilbert and David,
That's not a bad
I mean,
Gilbert. I've never tried doing it before, but it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
You have an ear, my friend. It's an interesting thing. Gina has the same thing.
Thank you.
Are you a musician, Gina?
No, I just like to mimic people.
I think it's a musician thing. I thought it was a musician thing.
Remind me of Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, that's Elliot Gould, right?
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's do one more, Gina.
All right. Well, let's lighten things up a bit. Looking for something different to wear to your Christmas party, and we have one coming up. Forget those stupid, ugly Christmas sweaters. Now, what's really in fashion for the ladies?
Maybe I could get Kid Rock to go to Ireland and lecture.
That would be nice.
They would love.
Like
They would
it'd be
embrace
better
him.
than Bob Seger.
Open arms.
What do you want to say, kid?
More time.
No, you make a fair point. No, you do. That's true. Here, now, why do they call you kid if you're 50? It's just a question. It's just a fair question.
The Reindeer Boob Sweater. It is a trend sweeping the nation.
Whoa.
And while this new festive fashion might not be right for everyone's office party,
Ample.
is not stopping people from giving it a try. It's sold on Etsy.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Like, call me old-fashioned, but I miss the old days where Santa was just doing cocaine on his sweater.
That's right, just
Like,
the
I'm a
lines.
little more traditional.
Yeah.
You harken back.
Just as I get older, I get a little more traditional.
Yesteryear.
You have kids.
That's true.
You want Santa doing rails versus boob reindeer.
This is just offensive. So it's the reindeer boob sweater. It's the brainchild of mom, Sherry Wiseman. She came up with it. She sells it on Etsy under the Your Sassy Grandma store. And the sweater comes with a hole in it and some cutouts, a little red nose, some googly eyes, a wreath. And you can decorate your own boob with a reindeer accoutrement.
I would be interested in buying a pair of pants with a similar theme.
Yeah.
She came out with something similar. I don't think it's going over as well.
Yeah.
Gina, I would suggest one of these for you.
For the Christmas
in
party?
your ample bosom.
Okay.
Yes. And I would also suggest, you know how, Christmas comes and goes and you pass that house in April and the Christmas lights are still up and you judge.
They can't let go.
There'll be no judging you.
Do you promise?
Far from it.
You just take this right on
All
into
through the year?
2020.
Summer.
Yeah.
July?
Well, look, and then at a certain point, you get closer to Christmas than
Right.
you are.
And at that point.
Right?
I'm in the
And now
holiday
you just
spirit.
leave it out.
That's
You know,
good.
and leave the lights up.
Right.
There's no difference
Okay.
between the lights being up and your boob being out.
You
for a
promise you
year.
won't judge. Come March.
No, I
I won't
won't.
judge
And listen,
negatively.
hold on. I'm not a weirdo. If like that boob falls asleep or something, you can use it. Swap it out for the other boob. Like I'm not
okay,
going to
if
be
it
like,
falls
hey,
asleep.
what happened to the right boob?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wait. They can fall asleep?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's news to me.
Yeah, I didn't. Well,
I don't. I'm not a boobologist. I study them
Is
on
that
the
a
internet.
doctor thing?
I'm assuming
Well, congratulations,
there's a degree
Mr.
involved.
Corolla.
No, it's
or
called-
should I say Dr. Corolla?
It's called a boobologist.
I'm saying maybe it doesn't want to be exposed to the elements.
Right.
Maybe you
Right.
spill barbecue sauce on it or
Right.
something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Swap out the other boob
Tag
for
team.
the Rudolph boob.
Okay, that might
All
be
right.
part of my resolution.
All right, let's bring it home, please.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Sometimes jokes don't work.
That was the news.
Boobology.